For today's headlines, Odette death surged past 130. Odette-hit areas get 2 billion pesos aid. Pope Francis prays for Philippines amid the devastation brought by Odette. Asia remains Philippines' top trading partner. Spend seen to offset inflation concerns. Bureau of Corrections persons deprived of liberty backs in full swing. 1-year-old migrant crosses sea alone. Good morning, I am Venice Bautista and you are watching Tribune News on Q. Today is December 20, 2021, and here are the latest news of this Monday morning. At least 132 people have been killed by Typhoon Odette, international codename Rai. Latest official figures showed 20 December. The toll is likely to rise as disaster agencies assess the full extent of the storm's aftermath across the country. 16 in Cebu, 5 in Negros Oriental, 63 in Bohol, 18 in Negros Occidental, 2 in Guimaras, 1 in Iloilo, 1 in Iloilo City, 10 in Dinagat Islands, 1 in Misamis Occidental, 5 in Misamis Oriental, 2 in Bukidnon, 6 in Southern Leyte, and 2 in Surigao del Norte. The storm knocked out communications and electricity in many areas, ripped off roofs, damaged hospitals, toppled concrete power poles, and flooded villages. Thousands of military, police, coast guard, and fire personnel are being deployed to assist in search and rescue efforts in the worst affected areas. Coast Guard and naval vessels carrying food, water, and medical supplies are being dispatched, while heavy machinery like backhoes and front-end loaders are being sent to help clear roads blocked by fallen power poles and trees. President Rodrigo Duterte visited some of the hardest-hit areas on Saturday and has pledged to release 2 billion pesos to assist recovery efforts. The Philippines, ranked among the globe's most vulnerable nations to the impact of climate change, is hit by an average of 20 storms and typhoons every year, which typically wipes out harvests, homes, and infrastructure in already impoverished areas. The national government has pledged a total of 2 billion pesos to communities in Visayas and Mindanao affected by Typhoon Odette, acting presidential spokesperson Nograles said Sunday. Nograles said in a radio interview that the President Duterte has already committed 2 billion pesos of funding and it will be allocated to provide for the needs of victims of the typhoon, he told the governors yesterday. This after Duterte admitted that the government funds have already been immensely depleted due to the COVID-19 pandemic. He did not mention how the COVID-19 pandemic specifically affected the government coffers, but he assured the typhoon victims of immediate help from the government as soon as he gets the funding. Meanwhile, Nograles assured the public that victims of the typhoon will be taken care of, as President Duterte instructed government agencies to use all government assets to assist those affected by the typhoon. He said that the Department of Social Welfare and Development already has 1 billion pesos worth of prepositioned family food packs and non-food items for the affected areas. He noted that the Department of Public Works and Highways is already conducting road clearing operations in affected areas to speed up transportation of relief packs to the victims. The official said the President designated DSWD Secretary Rolando Bautista to act as crisis manager to ensure government response is coordinated in Surigao del Norte and Dinagat Islands. Secretary Rolando Bautista will be assisted by National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council Executive Director and Civil Defense Administrator Undersecretary Ricardo Halad. Nograles said the two officials are tasked to facilitate the delivery and transport of food and non-food items to affected areas, ensure immediate and stable delivery of food supply, set up tents and tarpaulins to these affected areas within 24 hours, and implement food for work and cash for work programs to aid typhoon victims. Pope Francis prays for Philippines amid the devastation brought by Odette. He joined the Philippines in praying for those affected by the typhoon. Pope Francis posted on Twitter that he expresses his closeness to the population of the Philippines, struck by a strong typhoon that has caused many deaths and destroyed so many homes, and may the Santo Niño bring consolation and hope to the families of those most affected, using the hashtag #PrayTogether. More than 100 people have been killed in the strongest typhoon to hit the country this year, as efforts to deliver water and food to devastated families are done. Tribune News on Q will be back. Stay with us.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Masaya, pagsama-sama.
Bong, yung naumpisahan ko, tapusin mo. Mga bagong highway, tulay, tren, dapat ma-enjoy na kaagad ng mga tao yan. Kailangan lahat bakunado at laging may ayuda pag kailangan. Huwag dapat magkabalik ang mga drug lords para ligtas ang pamilya. Yung ginawa mong malasakit centers, maganda yan. Padamihin mo pa. Magkasama tayo. Tayo ang nagsimula. Tuloy-tuloy lang. Bong.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Masaya, pagsama-sama.
We're back on Tribune News on Q. Despite the economic disruptions brought about by the pandemic, Asia continues to be the Philippines' top trading partner. On an occasion last Friday entitled "The Philippines, Asia's Partner in Post-Pandemic Recovery," Department of Trade and Industry Secretary Ramon Lopez stated that based on the list of our top 20 trading partners from January to September this year, 12 are from Asia with a cumulative trade value of 104.5 billion pesos, or dollars rather, or 74.3% share of the Philippines' total trade, posting a 26.3% increase from the same period in 2020. Lopez emphasized that during the pandemic period, the Philippines did not impose import or export restrictions, when in fact, the importation of health equipment and supplies deemed critical or needed to address the COVID-19 public health emergency was given exemption from duties, taxes, and fees. Some import requirements were also streamlined, he said, particularly the tariff rates and other import licensing requirements were even removed or adjusted for other products and commodities, highlighting the fact that Asian neighbors have truly played a huge role as the country tided over the effects of the contagion. He stressed that the FDI is 43.8% higher than the $5.1 billion recorded from January to September of last year, and even higher by 24.2% over pre-pandemic 2019 FDI levels, once Asian, again signifying real growth. He further underlined that since 2016, the Philippines has risen from 6th to 4th rank among fellow Asian countries for FDI inflows, stating that the country value investors and provide them with assistance in resolving different issues, concerns, and queries. This is by ensuring that the movement of cargo and people remain unhampered during the pandemic, even at the height of lockdowns last year and this year. Lopez noted that as the government continues to work towards the safe reopening of the economy, the way forward for the country is to build back better and to stay the course to have a better future. This was due to the government's goal for Filipinos to have modern, dynamic, and responsible Philippines. U.S. economy has been assessed by analysts as having performed admirably in 2021, recovering all of the lost output due to the pandemic, with employment less than 4 million shy of the pre-pandemic level. Inflation, however, remains a concern, and the U.S. Federal Reserve is now indicating it is going to be taking action with the prospect of 3 interest rate hikes next year, despite ongoing uncertainty about the path of COVID. The last couple of weeks of 2021 will see the release of durable goods orders, which are rebounding impressively, according to investment bank ING. The core figure, which strips out volatile defense and aircraft orders, points to a very positive outlook for capital expenditure in the first half of 2022, while robust personal income numbers should allow consumers to continue spending aggressively. Other data includes regional manufacturing figures, which should continue to highlight the strength of demand through production bottlenecks remain an issue, meaning that prices should continue to grind higher, although there is evidence that some of the heat is coming out of the housing market. All in, ING maintains of the view that the threat from Omicron is manageable and that the U.S. economy will expand by around 4.5% next year, with inflation likely to average something similar. The odds are growing that our call for 2 FED rate hikes in 2022 will be increased to 3. The Bureau of Corrections is set to finish its vaccination with the anti-COVID vaccine all persons deprived of liberty in the country's 7 jail facilities. As of December 16, Bureau of Corrections reported 44,589 PDL have been vaccinated against the coronavirus disease. There are 48,537 presently incarcerated around the country. Justice Undersecretary Deo Marcos said Vaccine SHAR Secretary Carlito Galvez Jr. have already provided BuCor with all the vaccines it needs. BuCor said 24,911 PDL have received their first dose of the COVID vaccine, while 19,678 have been fully vaccinated. The New Bilibid prison in Muntinlupa City has vaccinated 27,529 of its 28,516 PDL. And of those vaccinated, 17,000 received their first dose, while 10,529 have been fully inoculated. At the Correctional Institution for Women in Mandaluyong City, 3,300 of 3,352 PDL have received the vaccines, making it the facility with the highest number of vaccinated prisoners. Tribune News on Kilo will be back. Stay with us.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Chris masaya, pagsama-sama. Ang Daily Tribune may digital shows na din. Dahil sa mas lumalaki at mas lumalakas nating tribu, handog sa inyo ng Daily Tribune ang mga programang magbibigay buhay araw-araw. Be informed at mag-good vibes tuwing umaga sa programang Gising Na. Be updated sa news and happenings sa Tribune News on Cue. Mas kilalanin pa natin ang mga paborito nyong atleta sa programang The Athletes Tribune. Alamin ang latest entertainment sa programang What's Up. Ma-inspire sa mga kwentong hatid ng Perfect. Search lang ang Daily Tribune sa inyong Facebook at TribuneNow on YouTube. See you there mga katribu! Mapalutong bahay man o sumptuous meal for special occasions, sagot na kayo ng tropang Kalanpag. Dahil atid sa inyo ng Daily Tribune ang fun and exciting cooking show na Kalanpag, manood at matuto kung paano lutuin ang mga favorite nyong recipes. Sabayan pa ng fun and inspiring na kwentuhan sa kusina. I-upgrade na rin natin ang mga nakasanayang traditional dish ng pamilya. Plus, healthy tipid tips na ibabahagi ng tropang Kalanpag. Matuto, mabusog, at ma-good vibes dito lang sa Kalanpag. Tuwing Lunes, 10:30 AM sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at TribuneNow on YouTube. Mga katribu, tara na't makiisa at matuto sa mga public service programs hatid ng Kalingang Katribu. Tuwing Lunes, nandyan ang usapang business na magbibigay tips at inspirasyon sa mga aspiring entrepreneurs kasama sina Compi Manalo at Vernon Velasco. Tuwing Miyerkules, usapang pangkalusugan naman ang tatalakayin ni Miss Cory Quirino sa Health and Wellness. At tuwing Biyernes naman, kung legal advice ang kailangan mo, sagot ka na ng Legal Diaries kasama si Elmer Navarro Manuel at mga guest lawyers. Lahat ng niya mapapanood tuwing alas 3:30 ng hapon sa Daily Tribune Facebook page at TribuneNow on YouTube.
Boto mo to, Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Chris masaya, pagsama-sama.
You are still watching Tribune News on Q. A 1-year-old boy believed to have been sent by his parents to make the dangerous Mediterranean crossing alone has made it safely to the island of Lampedusa, Italian media reports said Saturday. The child, estimated to be barely a year old, was among 500 plus people who arrived on the small island in 7 separate landings over the past 2 days, the Repubblica Daily said. He was spotted by rescuers in the midst of some 70 men in a boat which landed Friday, the Daily said. He crossed the Mediterranean before he even learned to walk. The other migrants had no idea who the child was, but were reportedly begged by his parents to keep him safe during the crossing, possibly because they were prevented from boarding with him, the Daily said. Another arrival was a 14-year-old son of a woman who died during a rescue off the island. Doctors Without Borders said on Twitter that this woman was traveling on a boat with 25 other people, including her son, who saw her. Some 1,340 people have died attempting the perilous central Mediterranean crossing so far this year, according to the International Organization for Migration. And that wraps up the stories this morning. Before we go, we'd like to thank the following: the SM Store, Department of Tourism, Araneta Center, MG Motors, Hina Motors, Security Bank, and Overseas Community Affairs Council member Alan Lin of Republic of China for their continued support. Again, this is Venice Bautista on Tribune News on Q, reminding you that we only have 5 days until Christmas. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay at home. Good morning.
Catch the latest news on our website, tribune.net.ph. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Tribune Now. Download the Daily Tribune app on Apple Store for iOS and Google Play for Android to get the latest and most comprehensive news online. Daily Tribune invites you to join its Viber community, Katribu, to get updates on the hottest news on politics, business, sports, lifestyle, and entertainment. Emoticons of the Tribune mascot Tercito are available on our community Viber.